The experience that I've had personally with engaging policymakers spans both local policymakers and national level policymakers. So on the local level, obviously Southampton City Council's been thinking about having a clean air zone. So I've spoken at a couple of council meetings to give them some of the up-to-the-date evidence about air quality and what we know about its effects on health. We've also had several meetings with councillors and staff from the council about research projects that we can do so that we can do our research and get the benefits that gives us, but also give the council evidence which they might otherwise not have the time or the money or the facilities to be able to get. And so there's a kind of synergy going on there, and we hope to drive that forwards in the future. I've also given evidence to Hampshire County Council. They have an emergency planning group, and they were interested in understanding whether air quality and air pollution episodes, specifically when the pollution goes really high, whether that should be considered an emergency in the same way that they consider heat waves, for example, as an emergency. So I was just telling them a bit of the evidence there. On a national level, there is a committee called the Committee on the Medical Effects of Air Pollution. It's known as COMIAP. And I've sat on a subcommittee of that group to prepare a report for Transport for London, who were interested in understanding how air pollution and air quality on the London Underground might affect the passengers and the staff who work down there. And that's got some policy advice in there that TfL and the wider research community will act on. And then on a more national level, in terms of national government, I recently participated in Evidence Week at the Houses of Parliament. It was a great experience, the chance to interact with national level policymakers who obviously have a lot of input into decisions about how the country functions at the national level, but don't necessarily have the expertise in the areas which they make those decisions in, was really quite inspiring to be able to explain to them, from my own point of view, what the effects on health are of air pollution, what we know about it, and perhaps more importantly, what we don't know about it, so that they can, in a fairly brief period of time, get to know in their own language what the most important points are about air pollution and what we understand about it. And actually it was quite surprising for me what some of them actually did know. You know, so these politicians have to deal with a really wide range of topics, and some of them had really quite a lot of knowledge about air pollution that you would expect from a PhD student maybe. But equally it was very rewarding to be able to give them information which they clearly hadn't understood before or hadn't quite grasped the magnitude of the problem or what we don't know about air pollution. So for me the most rewarding thing really was finding out what they know and also being able to add to that knowledge so that they can implement that in national level policy making. Whatever the policy is aimed at doing, whether it's aiming at improving air quality or health or anything else that policy tries to affect, the most important thing for it to have a good chance of achieving its aims and objectives is for it to be based on current, up-to-date and well-founded research. Not based on old research, not based on disproved research, not based on opinion. It has to be based on what we know now to the best of our knowledge. And so our role in advising policymakers is to be able to get the message across to them clearly in a language which they can understand and in a way that doesn't diminish or alter the message that comes from the research.